Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video, we will discuss about the DepEd Order 034 series of 2022, released last July 11, 2022. School calendar and activities for the school year 2022-2023. So, join me dito po sa ating pagtalakay sa ating school calendar. Okay. So, syempre, sino ba ang nagmandato sa atin ito? Ang Department of Education. The Department of Education issues this school calendar of activities in accordance with its commitment to the resumption of 5 days in-person classes despite the health crisis brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. And pursuant to Republic Act 11480, an act amending Section 3 of RA number 7797, otherwise known as an act to lengthen the school calendar from 200 days to not more than 220 class days. The school year 2022 shall formally open on Monday, malapit na, August 22, and shall end on July 7, 2023. Of course, it will consist of 203 school days as may determined by further issuances in case of changes in the school calendar due to unforeseen circumstances. Siyempre, meron po tayong mga hindi inaasahang magiging pangyayari. Katulad po, wag naman sana gaya po ng mga hindi inaasahang kalamidad at mga pwede pa pong i-announce ng ating government. So here, unless otherwise amended, the period of the school year 2023-2024 will start from August 28 to June 28, 2024, and school year 2024-2025 will be from August 26, 2024 up to June 27, 2025. A separate DepEd order shall be issued for the school calendars of the respective school years mentioned. Okay. The learning intervention for our alternative learning system shall formally open on the same date, while the program duration will depend on the learner's educational background or existing knowledge level prior to enrolling in the ALS program. Private schools and state, local universities, and colleges may implement this school calendar provided they start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August. Any deviation from the school calendar shall be reported to the respective regional offices in advance. And the number of school days in this DepEd order shall solely be dedicated to academics and related co-curricular activities. The conduct of extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. The list of co-curricular activities will be issued in a separate DepEd order. Okay. And this DepEd order shall apply regardless of the COVID-19 alert level imposed by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases or the Department of Health in areas where schools are located. And the implementing guidelines on the school year 2022-2023 calendar and activities are provided in enclosure number 1 to ensure that the number of school days required for curriculum operations and academic-related activities are properly complied with. It likewise ensures that the schools are given the necessary information on how to manage certain situations involving COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. In preparation for the opening of classes, Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela shall be conducted. Kasalukuyan pong nagaganap ang ating mga Brigada Eskwela sa ating pong SDO Valenzuela. At focusing on information campaigns and in strengthening partnership that complement the department efforts to ensure quality basic education. This DepEd order shall take effect immediately upon issuance and publication on the DepEd website shall be registered with the Office of the National Administrative Register. For the clarification and inquiries, please contact the Office of the Director for Bureau of Learning Delivery, 4th floor, Bonifacio Building, DepEd Central Office, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, through the email address at bld.od@deped.gov.ph or the telephone numbers 02-8636-6540 or 8637-4347. Immediate dissemination of and again, immediate dissemination of and strict compliance with this order is directed. Signed, our Vice President of the Philippines and the DepEd Secretary, Madam Sara Zay Duterte. Okay. So, tingnan po natin ang enclosure number 1 ng DepEd Order number 034 series of 2022. The implementing guidelines on the school calendar and activities. So, of course, we have our rationale. The Department of Education ensures the effective implementation of the K-12 curriculum amid the challenges posed by the pandemic. It has been advocating the government's initiative to encourage strict adherence to public health protocols while implementing policies that ensure the delivery of accessible, responsive, and quality education throughout this health crisis. Of course, another rationale is recognizing the COVID-19 pandemic vis-a-vis the need to resume 5 days in-person classes. The DepEd intends for schools to be given ample time to slowly transition into it. Schools and community learning center CLCs are urged to adhere to the school calendar to comply with the required numbers of school days to attend the learning standards. This policy is intended to provide schools and CLCs with direction and guidance in the reopening of classes, the graduation or the gradual introduction of 5 days. Again, the gradual introduction of 5 days in-person learning modality and the organizing of curricular and co-curricular operation within the required number of school days. Of course, the scope of these implementing guidelines on the school calendar and activities for school year 2022-2023 shall apply to public and private elementary and secondary schools, including CLCs nationwide. Private schools and state, local universities and colleges, SUCs, LUCs, may implement this school calendar. They may start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August. Okay, we have our definition of terms in this DepEd order. For these terms are operationally defined as follows. Alternative delivery modes, or the ADM, are instructional or learning modalities that do not strictly follow the typical setup for regular classroom instruction but follow the K-12 curriculum of formal education in content. It caters to learners who are in unique circumstances that hinder them from regular attending classes inside the classroom. So our reference for this is DepEd Order 21 series of 2019 or the policy guidelines on the K-12 basic education program. We have the blended learning, which refers to a learning delivery that combines in-person with any mix of online distance learning, like modular distance learning and TV radio-based instruction. Another terms, co-curricular activities. Of course, the co-curricular activities are authorized, voluntary, and ungraded engagement, whether on or off campus, that reinforce the development of 21st century skills beyond the scheduled contact time between teachers and learners. The activities must be anchored on the curriculum's content and performance standard. They are considered extension of formal learning experiences and are provided to tap into and enrich the valid intelligences and skills of the learners. DepEd Order 21 series of 2019 policy guidelines on the K-12 basic education program. Curricular activities means are the opportunities and experiences undertaken by the learners in the classroom, laboratories, workshops, and home, as well as school-based and out-of-school activities conducted to ensure the learners' acquisition of K-12 learning standards and the 21st century skills. The distance learning is also given definition, refers to a learning delivery modality where learning tasks place between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. It includes modular distance learning or the MDL, online distance learning, ODL, television, TV radio-based instruction, and blended distance learning. So, in 2 years na pandemic, tayo po ay nasa distance learning. And the exit assessment is a standardized set of examination taken by learners in year 6, 10, and 12. Excuse me po. The test, which cover 21st century skills, is designed to determine if learners are meeting the learning standard outlined in the K-12 basic education program. The extracurricular activities are voluntary, non-graded learners' engagement that are not anchored on the content and performance standards in the curriculum and are offered, coordinated by the school to promote the learner's holistic development. Homeschooling program is one among the ADMs under the flexible learning options of public and private elementary and secondary schools, where the learner's education is managed by parents, guardians, and happens primarily at home. So we have the DepEd Order 1 series of 2022. Okay. So next is in-person classes. Refers to conducting classes through instructional interaction that occurs physically and in real time between teachers and students in the classroom. So ito na nga po yung face-to-face. In-service training or the INSET refers to a modality of professional development that aims to continually develop, enhance, and improve the competency of our teachers, non-teaching personnel, and school leaders through formal or informal professional development activities designed around specific work-related development objectives. Preferably, formal and structured INSET should undergo quality assurance of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines or the NEAP and the professional development arm for teachers and school leaders in the Department of Education. We also have the Parent-Teacher Conference, refers to the opportunity to bring parents and teachers together in partnership to support the learner's holistic success in the school. Teachers shall discuss with the parents the academic progress and social behavior of students, as well as showcasing their outputs. School Day refers to a day devoted to instructionally relevant activities pursuant to engaging students in learning the lessons of the curriculum. DepEd Order 9 series of 2005, instituting measure to increase engaged time on tasks and ensuring compliance therewith. Of course, the policy statement of this DepEd order. The Department of Education issues this policy guidelines to ensure that all public and private schools are where, as well as non-DepEd schools offering basic education, adhere to the number of school days required to implement the curriculum and allowed the extra or the co-curricular activities throughout the school year. These policy guidelines ensure that school days are devoted to instructionally related activities that support learners in attaining the learner standard. Further, the guidelines are issued for schools to gradually reopen to 5 days in-person classes and slowly transition to full operational capacity during the pandemic. We also have here the general guidelines. The school year 2022-2023 shall formally start on Monday, August 22, 2022 and end on Friday, July 7, 2023. There shall be a total of 200 days as of may be determined by further issuances in case of changes in the school calendar due to unforeseen circumstances. No inspection tools or any additional requirements to reopen schools and to implement 5 days in-person classes shall be required, except for the compliance with the usual pre-pandemic regulatory permits and licenses are required by law or ordinances. Classes are immediately suspended during observance of regular and special national holidays as stipulated by the law, as well as local holidays which have been duly declared by law or presidential proclamation. Okay, so this DepEd order shall apply regardless of the COVID-19 alert level that the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases of the Department of Health, DOH, may impose in the areas where schools are situated. In the alternative learning system, ALS, learning intervention shall formally open on the same date, August 22, 2022. The program duration will be dependent on the learner's educational background or the existing knowledge level prior to the enrollment in the ALS program. Private schools and state local universities and colleges, SUCs, LUCs, offering basic education have the choice to implement or deviate from this calendar or from this school calendar. They may start classes not earlier than the first day of Monday, June, and not later than the last day of August 2022 as provided for under RA 11480. Any deviation from the school calendar shall be reported to the respective regional offices, ROs, in advance, along with the updated school learning continuity plan reflecting the learning delivery modalities and class program that will be adopted and the school's proposed school calendar for school year 2022-2023. We have to prepare for the preparation of school 2022-2023. In preparation for the opening of classes, public schools shall conduct the following activities on the following dates. So, mag-back po tayo at ito'y nagawa na. Of course, the enrollment shall be held from July 25 to August 22. A separate guidelines on enrollment for school year 2022-2023 shall be issued. And Brigada Eskwela happening now and Oplan Balik Eskwela which shall focus on the information campaign, preparations, and in strengthening partnership that complement the department's effort to ensure quality basic education. The Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela shall be conducted on August 1 to 26 at ngayon ay August 17. Tama? It's happening now. And August 15, respectively. Okay. Public schools that were already implementing the 5 days in-person classes at the end of school year 2021-2022 shall continue to do the same, excuse po, at the beginning of the incoming school year. Recognizing the COVID-19 pandemic vis-a-vis the needs to resume 5 days in-person classes, the DepEd intends for schools to be given ample time to slowly transition into it by implementing any of the following options. A. 5 days of in-person classes. B. Blended learning modality. Blended 3 days in-person classes and 2 days of distance learning modular online, or television, radio basic instruction, and thereafter 4 days of in-person classes and 1 day of distance learning online. Monday to Wednesday in person and Thursday to Friday distance learning, or as example, Monday to Thursday, 4 in-person classes and 1 day distance learning. And that would be scheduled every Friday. When full distance learning, the above-mentioned option shall only be implemented by schools under October 31, 2022. So, last November or starting November 2, starting November 2, 2022, all public and private schools shall have transitioned to 5 days in-person classes. After the said date, no school shall be allowed to implement purely distance learning or blended learning except for those that are implementing alternative delivery modes as provided for in DepEd Order 21 series of 2019, entitled Policy Guidelines on the K-12 Basic Education Program, and DepEd Order 01 series of 2022, entitled Revised Policy Guidelines on Homeschooling Program. The time allotment, ayan, nagtitiyok pa ako. The time allotment for in-person class hours shall be based on Annex 1, Elementary Education, and Annex 2 for the Secondary Education of DepEd Order 21 series of 2019. The transition to 5 days in-person classes present learners with new stressors and challenges. This entails adjustment to the school environment, learning modality, and additional safety protocol, as well as managing the mix of pleasant and difficult feelings. Siyempre, dahil 2 taon nga silang nakulong sa kanilang mga tahanan, ay talaga namang mixed emotion and difficult feelings. Kaya dapat nating ihanda ang ating pong mga anak. Hence, providing psychosocial support during the first week of the school year is imperative in promoting, protecting, and prioritizing the learner's social-emotional well-being and developing their coping skills for this transition. The DepEd Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service will organize an online orientation and learning session for K-12 teachers on how to conduct psychosocial support activities for learners using the Psychosocial Support Activity Pack that the office developed with Magis Creatives. Basic Education Development Plan, or the BEDP 2030. The Department of Education ensures the effective implementation of the K-12 curriculum amid the challenges posed by the pandemic. DepEd has been advocating the government's initiative to encourage strict adherence to public health protocols, while implementing policies that ensure the delivery of accessible, responsive, and quality education throughout this health crisis. The Basic Education Development Plan, the BEDP 2030, as adopted in DepEd Order 24, series of 2022, puts forward 4 priority development areas, namely pivoting to quality, ensuring that all learners attain learning standards in every key stage in the K-12 program, expanding access to education for groups in situations of disadvantage to ensure inclusive and equitable quality service delivery, empowering learners to be resilient and to acquire life skills, and strengthening the promotion of the overall well-being of learners in a positive learning environment where learners exercise their rights and experience joy while being aware of their responsibilities as individuals and as members of our society. Of course, as the Phase 1 implementation of the BEDP 2030 covers post-COVID-19 recovery and transition, addressing the remaining access gaps, focusing on equality and system-wide capacity development. Anchored on BEDP 2030, the school calendar and activities for school year 2022-2023 shall provide schools and CLCs with direction and guidance in organizing curricular and co-curricular operation within the required number of school days. Learning Recovery and Continuity Plan, or the LRCP. In National Capital Region, according to our regional director, we call this as LCRP. So, Learning Continuity Recovery Plan. Yun po yung sinabi during the orientation ng third batch dito po sa DepEd NCR, LCRT. Okay. The regional offices are highly encouraged to implement a contextualized set of strategies and intervention as part of the learning recovery and continuity plan, which shall focus on 3 key stages. A. Learning remediation and intervention. B. Socio-emotional functioning, mental health and well-being, and professional development for teachers. Professional development of teachers. I stand corrected. The key outcome of the Department's recovery planning and success is ensuring that learning gaps are identified and addressed among all learners, especially the most vulnerable ones. Teachers shall adhere to the stipulations under DepEd Order 8 Series of 2015, which requires the provision of intervention through remediation for extra lessons to learners who receive a grade below of 75. To ensure that teachers perform this task, they must be spared of any administrative and finance-related tasks, particularly in schools where qualified non-teaching person can be designated to perform such roles. Okay, we have the classroom-based and system assessment. The MELS, or the most essential learning competencies, shall continue to apply for school year 2022-2023. However, classroom assessment shall follow DepEd Order 8 Series of 2015, or the policy guidelines on classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program. To assure the quality of learning, formative assessment shall be regularly conducted by the teachers. At the national level, the Bureau of Education Assessment, or the BEA, shall conduct the following system assessment: the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy Assessment, or the ELNA, the National Achievement Test, the NAT. The ELNA assesses early language literacy and numeracy in 19 languages and is administered to grade 4 learners, while the NAT assesses 21st century skills like problem solving, information literacy, critical thinking through the lens of learning areas. The NAT is an assessment administered to grade 6, grade 10, and grade 12 learners. The ELNA and the NAT shall cover the MELS as provided for in DepEd Order 27 Series of 2022, entitled Conduct of Rapid Assessment in School Year 2021-2022 for Learning Recovery, as well as in preparation for the 2021 Basic System Assessment. The Conduct of the above-mentioned national assessment in school year 2021-2022 will serve as a rapid assessment to identify learning gaps and to design appropriate interventions as well as preparation for establishing a new system assessment baseline in 2024. BEA or the Bureau of BEA, which we mentioned, Bureau of Education Assessment, also administers the National Career Assessment Examination or the NCAE to ascertain the learner's aptitude and interest and to provide them with relevant information on their skills, abilities, and readiness for academic and non-academic courses. Further, all elementary schools shall administer the Early Childhood Development Checklist for kindergarten during the opening of classes, mid-year, and the end of school year. The results will be used as the basis of planning and formulating appropriate intervention for children. The Bureau of Alternative Education, the BAE, shall develop a policy on assessment for the ALS program in coordination with the BEA. As provided for DepEd Order 14, Series of 2018, the implementing guidelines on the administration of the revised Philippine Informal Reading Inventory or the PIR-ERI group screening test, the GST for Filipino grade 3 to grade 6 and for English grade 4 to grade 6, shall be conducted within the first or second month of the school year, while the individualized PIR-ERI assessment shall be conducted within a month after of the GST is administered. The schedule of administration of the post-test shall be announced in a separate issuance. The PIR measure the reading performance of learners. The results provide feedback data to classroom teachers as basis for designing and delivering appropriate reading instruction for the learners. The PIR-ERI assessment results also serves as guide to school head to plan appropriate reading programs for activities to improve learning outcomes. On the other hand, the multi-factored assessment tool or the MPAT shall be administered to grade 1 learners a month after the opening of classes as provided for in DepEd Order 29, Series of 2018, and or the policy on the implementation of MPAT. The result will be used as the basis for instructional planning and in formulating appropriate intervention strategies for learners who exhibit development advancement or delays or show manifestation of learning disabilities. The curricular and the co-curricular activities. The classes are immediately suspended during observances of regular and special national holidays as stipulated by the law, as well as local holidays which have been duly declared by law or through presidential proclamation. And the number of school days in this DepEd order shall solely dedicated to academics and related co-curricular activities. The conduct of extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. Virtual activities through different social media platforms which require reactions or sharing may be done for advocacy, awareness, or collaboration purposes but shall not form part of the learner's scholastic grade. Curricular and co-curricular activities not involve the in-person gathering of a large number of participants like the National Schools Press Conference, National Science and Technology Fair, and National Festival of Talent, and other similar undertakings may be conducted in hybrid modality subject to the declared alert levels of the country. Okay. So curricular activities shall be conducted during the academic quarter to ensure that learners can seamlessly connect and integrate learners or the learning within and across learning areas while providing manageable breaks consistent with Memorandum OUCI-2020-307 entitled suggested measure to foster academic ease during the COVID-19 pandemic. And on the other hand, co-curricular activities shall be conducted after the quarter examinations to avoid disruption of classes. Pursuant to the objectives of Sulong Edukalidad, schools shall strictly devote 10 weeks of every academic quarter to actual classroom teaching. The 11th week of each quarter may be used for the conduct of co-curricular activities. The Central Office, Regional Office, Schools Division Offices, SDOs, and the other concerned external stakeholders that need to introduce co-curricular activities may do so in accordance with this provision on scheduling the same. Enclosure number 3. It indicates the list of celebrations, observances provided by law. Schools are encouraged to integrate such celebration observance into curricular activities as they deem reasonable and appropriate, so long for as to the total number of school days shall not be compromised. The career guidance activities which may be conducted in person or hybrid, whichever is applicable, shall be conducted between August and December to guide junior high school learners in making informed choices on their preferred senior high school track, as well as senior high school learners in pursuing subsequent curriculum exits or tertiary education. College and middle level skills fairs, job fairs, business and entrepreneurship expos, and similar activities shall be conducted during the last quarter of the school year. Of course, we have the PTA conferences and the cards distribution. The parent-teachers conferences and report cards distribution shall be held not earlier than the second Saturday following the end of every quarter. Suggested date for these activities are indicated in enclosure number 2. Specifically, the parent-teachers conferences are intended to appraise the parents of the progress and performance of their children and to ensure parental involvement in school activities. 5-day mid-year break. We have the 5-day mid-year break shall be spent for the conduct of the mid-year performance review and evaluation and the school-based inset. The first 2 days shall be spent in evaluating the school progress and implementation of the educational programs, projects, and activities, as well as in reviewing the performance of teachers and the school staff to address concern through cooperative effort. The last 3 days shall be devoted to the conduct of the school-based inset activities for the teachers' continued professional development and in the preparation of their instructional materials. The conduct of Learning Action Cell. The Learning Action Cell shall be sustained by conducting it at least once a month on an in-person learning modality. However, it may also be done virtually when it's difficult to have in-person sessions, particularly when involving clustered school. DepEd Order 35, Series of 2016, the Learning Action Cell, as K-12 Basic Education Program, School-Based Continuing Professional Development Strategy for the Improvement of Teaching and Learning suggests that the following broad areas of discussions where specified topics may be deduced. A. Learners' diversity and students' inclusion. B. Content and pedagogy of the K-12 Basic Education Program. C. Assessment and reporting in the K-12 Basic Education Program. D. 21st Century Skills and ICT integration in instruction and assessment. And E. Curriculum contextualization, localization, and indigenization. We have the General Assembly. School may opt to conduct in-person, online, or hybrid orientation at the beginning of the school year to orient stakeholders on the vision, mission, and core values of DepEd, as well as the curriculum. Other ancillary services that support the learner's development and added initiatives that may produce better learning among students. Public schools are required to conduct a year-end General Assembly at the start of the school year, midway through the year, and at the end of the school year to present the school report cards or the SRC and consult the assembly on how to better achieve the vision, goals, and objectives of all stakeholders. Private schools, on the other hand, are encouraged to do the same. The SRC provides stakeholders with a picture of schools' current conditions and performance. It is used to advocate and communicate stakeholders the school situation, the context, the performance for better learning outcomes, and the said general assemblies shall be done in a manner that would ensure the proper observance of basic health protocols. Kailangan pa rin mag-ingat tayo dahil hanggang pa rin ang COVID. O yan, year-end deliberation of awards and clearance. So, deliberation of awards and recognition may be conducted 2 weeks before the graduation or moving up ceremonies by the School Awards Committee for the following. A. Learners who will receive recognition and awards. B. Learners who are candidates for graduation. For public schools, the accomplishment of year-end financial clearance of learners is strictly prohibited in accordance with DepEd Order No Collection Policy. Christmas break. The Christmas break shall begin on December 19, 2022, Monday. Classes shall resume on January 4, 2023, Wednesday. Remedial classes. The remedial classes for public school shall start on July 17, 2023, Monday, and shall end on August 26, 2023, Saturday. The enclosure number 2 of this policy presents the school calendar with the following markings on relevant dates. We have A. Declared holidays, marks as X. B. Days for inset, curricular and co-curricular activities, home-based collaboration-related activities, and days for the administration of academic quarter examination. Okay, so ayan ang ating mga symbol. We have the X, we have the square, and we have the triangle. The guidelines on the prevention on COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. Of course, face mask shall be mandatory in the reopening of classes. A face shield may be used in lieu of my face mask for activities requiring the entire face of an individual to be visible. So nakita ninyo, kahit na nandito tayo at ako ay nag-iisa, still naka-face mask. So lagi tayong protected dapat ng ating mga face mask. Okay, we have the physical distancing shall be observed whenever possible. Classroom doors and windows shall be open for ventilation. And students, teaching and non-teaching personnel are strictly prohibited from eating together while facing one another. So, kahit sabik na tayo sa isa't isa, you are not allowed to eat in one particular place na nandyan at sama-sama. Together is strictly prohibited. If there is a lack of space in the classroom or in school premises to allow distancing during meals, eating shall be done in a manner where all individuals face in one direction and do not talk while their masks are off. Ayan. The school shall coordinate with the DOH for counseling on the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination of the family of an unvaccinated learners and implement mobile vaccination for those who sign a written consent to be vaccinated. The school shall seek the support and partner with mental health associations or psychiatry societies in their respective areas to assist in ensuring the mental wellness of the students, teachers, and non-teaching personnel during the transition period. Okay, we have learners who exhibit symptoms of COVID-19 shall be immediately excused from in-person classes and shall shift to distance learning. This shall only be required of those who feel well enough to answer modules or participate on online classes, but are in the home or facility isolation. This provision excludes learners who are admitted to hospitals. To prevent learners with symptoms similar to COVID-19 from going to school, parents are highly encouraged to monitor and report the health status of their children to the school through the class advisors and appropriate authorities. We have also, schools shall have an infection control plan and containment strategy that is ready to be implemented in the event of the spread of COVID-19 and other infectious diseases within their premises. Schools shall not be held liable should any learner or personnel turn COVID-19 positive. There is no need for parents or guardians to sign a waiver for this item. Likewise, no parents or guardians' consent shall be required for a learner to resume a 5 days in-person classes. And the monitoring and evaluation, the Bureau of Learning Delivery or the BLD, the Curriculum Learning Management Division, the Curriculum Implementation Division, and the School Governance Operations Division shall monitor the compliance of schools with the provisions of these guidelines. Likewise, SDOs shall submit reports on the compliance of this policy through ROs to the Bureau of Learning Delivery. The Bureau of Learner Support Services, BLSS, and the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Services, DRRMS, shall monitor the compliance of schools with the mechanism and standards, particularly on health and safety protocols during the 5 days in-person classes. The SDOs through the RO shall ensure that these protocols are in place and shall submit their reports to the BLSS and DRRMS for progress, monitoring, and evaluation. Queries on this guideline shall be addressed to the Office of the Director for BLD via email address bld.od@deped.gov.ph or at telephone numbers 8637-4346 and 8637-4347. The SDO shall monitor the compliance of schools with the provisions of these guidelines and the number of school days. The effectivity, the DepEd Order shall take effect immediately upon issuance and publication on the DepEd Order website and shall be registered with the Office of the National Administrative Register or the owner. We have the repealing clause. All decrees, orders, instructions, rules, regulations, or part thereof which are inconsistent with the department order are hereby deemed repealed or modified accordingly. Okay, so we have our references. The DepEd Order 29, Series of 2021, the school calendar and activities for school year 2021-2022. We have the DepEd Order 30, Series of 2020, the amendment to DepEd Order number 7, Series of 2020, and the DepEd Order number 7, 2020, the school calendar and activities for school year 2020-2021. We also have DepEd Order number 13, Series of 2018, the implementing guidelines on the conduct of remedial and advancement classes during the summer for the K-12 basic education program. So we have the DepEd Order 3, 66, DepEd 5. So makita nyo yung ating order na narito ang ating mga references. Of course, itong reference natin dito ay ang DepEd Central website. Okay, so we have this, the enclosure number 2 for the DepEd Order 34 series of 2022. So, ayan, we have started our enrollment last July 25. So, sa August, we have the Brigada National Kick-Off and still ongoing Brigada. Today is August 17, so until 26 ang atin pong Brigada. As mentioned, we have the Offline Balik Eskwela Command Conference. Ayan po. So, take a look with this enclosure. number 2. And for disclosure number 3 of DepEd Order 034-2022, the activities and celebrations. Excuse me po. Okay, so yan po ang ating DepEd Order 34 Series of 22 or the School Calendar for 2022-2023. Sana po ay nabigyan ko po kayo ng impormasyon at inaasahan ko na kayo ay magsasubscribe dito sa aking YouTube channel. Thank you and God bless sa darating pong August 22 at sa ating school year 2022-2023. God bless us all. Thank you po.